Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to Final Girl Series 3. In this video, we will be looking at one of the featured films, both the killer side as well as the location side, all in one video. So it might be a little bit longer. But before we jump in, I just wanted to bring up the fact is I purchased the Ultimate Box, so I have stuff in there that might later on not be included in every other thing in retail release. If you're picking this up outside the outside box, you might not have the miniatures. The Series 1, Series 2, the miniatures, for example, came in separate boxes, and then as you purchase them, you could put them in. And the epic finale cards for our killers also came in a separate, one of the prop boxes instead. For this Ultimate Box, they included that stuff directly in the feature film boxes. So, I don't know if that's their plan for the future is to keep doing that. Or if that was just the Ultimate Box thing. So I'm just going to assume that it's going to follow Series 1 and 2, and they just, for the Ultimate Box purpose, when they packaged everything together, they included all that stuff in there, and then when they actually send these out to retail, those things will not be in there. So, I'll make sure I, just kind of re-mention that again, like, point off which is the epic finale card, as well as the miniatures, won't be in retail sets more than likely. I just wanted to throw that out there ahead of time so I don't have to repeat it again in the middle of every video. Alright, without further ado, let's hop into our feature film for this video. Hey, for this video for Final Girl, we are going to look at Don't Make a Sound, starring the Eyeless and featuring Utopia. So it's going to be a bit interesting one. Like they all are. They're all very interesting. So here we have a little descriptor for it. It says, everyone loves Utopia. The rural town of Utopia is home to just a handful of people and a whole lot of dirt and rocks. When the sand snakes burrowed in the surface to feed, there won't be a lot of targets to choose from. And to make matters worse, the eyeless extraterrestrial beings sent to clear the earth of its inhabitants just so happen to arrive at the same time with extrasensory hearing and lightning quick agility, death, come quickly for anyone within earshot. So this is actually interesting one. This is a combination of two different movies. Usually we just get like wherever the killer's based off of, and then the location kind of usually themes into either a general location or with that killer. And the Eyeless are based off of Quiet Place. Killers that you can't make a sound, you have to be quiet to do so, which add interesting mechanics to the game. About what you're able to do. And then Utopia, the map, is actually Tremors, which I really love. And I would never really, it's weird to consider that like a horror movie, because they're like these bestial things that are trying to kill stuff, but they're not like specifically targeting someone. And that's obviously a reference because Utopia, like a perfect place, and in Tremors, the main town is called Perfection. And they have the big sandworms and stuff. So I love that. It's really cool that they added that. I almost wish to an extent they would have done a little bit, to some of the locations, they would have done a little bit more stuff like that as well. But I get you don't want too many mechanics going on at the same time, because then it can mess up how the killer's abilities could work. So let's hop in and take a look at these. So here are the Eyeless. We always have to go over our killers first. They only have 2 dark powers, or minor dark powers. 4 horror and 10 hell, so they're just spidery-like beings. Now, I haven't seen The Quiet Place, so I don't know exactly if this is what they're supposed to look like, or if it's just just their own interpretation of them. I mean, obviously it's their own interpretation, but I don't know how closely based it is. Like, they could be 2-legged beings, they could, not have the thing, I'm not sure. Look at this. Discard the next terror card, next terror card. Look at their damage. 3s up to the top is 4s, and their movements are 3s and 4s. So they're getting around the board quick, and if they hit you, they're doing damage. So my guess is going to be they can only do damage without even looking at the rules yet. Is they're only able to do damage in areas where there's noise. So if they find you, they are going to wreck you, but they have to find you. It's going to be the kicker there. So let's hop in and see what the rules say. And they have I love the little icon for it, the little sound bars. Yeah, scientists were able to study the eyeless. Would have been fascinated by its ability to move and kill so precise without possessing eyes. Unfortunately, that will probably never happen, since soon they'll all be dead. Ha. So we get our 3 finale cards, 3 dark power cards, our epic dark power card, as well as we'll also get our epic dark finale card, which is part of the ultimate bundle, 2 final girls, a noise token, a killer board, of course, 16 tarot cards, and 4 noise cards. So the gimmick part of this one is going to be the noise cards. Another thing I did want to just point out with this one, which is a little bit, and I love one of the other sets does it as well. I think they all have a little bit different art styles, but usually they try and stay roughly the same. This one has a little bit more cartoony, and we had another one that's a lot more realistic compared to the others. And I'm conflicted on it. One hand, it's like, oh, it's kind of cool if everyone gets kind of its own art style, because again, it sort of fits with the movies. Aren't all the same exact style. They're all done. Some are done this way, some are done that way. But on the other hand, it somewhat also pulls it slightly thematically out of the game. But luckily, it's not that big of a deal, because the only artwork is on, for the most part, is on the finale cards and dark power cards, and then the final girls and the equipment cards. So for the most part, it's not like if every tarot card had pictures or artwork on what was happening on the tarot. Like if this is one picture on a tarot card and so on, then it might throw you off a little bit more, because obviously you have mixing tarot cards together, they'd be all different artwork. But yeah, so just a note, minor thing. Alright, so what does the Eyeless do? So we have special set. Place the noise marker on the 0 space of the time track. Place the noise cards beside your play area. So we're going to get this little tiny orange thing. So you place this on the 0 of your time tracker. And then we'll have these noise cards, which we'll look at in just a minute. Noise level. Your noise level will increase by 1 for each action card you resolve during the action phase. The result of the action card does not impact the amount of noise. It's simply a noise increase of 1 for each action resolved. Cards discarded for time or to convert successes are not counted for noise. However, resolving close call does increase noise because you are resolving an action card. Action cards played in other phases, for example, reaction cards or close call cards, are not counted for noise. Stop focusing so much, camera. The noise level only applies to you and can impact who the Eyeless will target. Resolving certain tarot cards around the killer phase. Eyeless targeting, opposite page. Each time you make a noise, move the noise marker up 1 on the time track accordingly. The current noise level is equal to the number of time on the track where the noise marker is. Some effects will reduce the noise, but noise levels cannot go below 0. The noise marker resets at the end of the upkeep phase. So using item. Many items make noise, sometimes a lot of it. Following guidelines to apply noise from items. When an item is used during an action phase, increasing noise based on the category in which applies best to the item used. If don't use the rule and game ambiguity rules. It can be done silently. Noise increase. Things like a map, drinking water, applying first aid, etc. Could be heard by others near you. Same space. +1 noise. Melee attacks, pole vaulting, etc. Could be heard at a distance. Other spaces. 3 noise. Gunshots, whistles, vehicles, etc. You may use an item during which category fits in an applicable noise beneath the card, corresponding noise to show at the bottom. This is just helpful reminder to increase the noise when using the item. So, it says like Katya has managed to acquire 3 different items. A 6-shooter, which make a lot of noise. She places a noise card with +3 under it. The pickaxe will make some noise, but not as much of a gun. She puts a card with +1. And using a first K will not make any. She does not place a card under it. Okay, so I'm just going to take a quick look at these cards here, just so we can kind of see what we're talking about. So, yeah, you're just going to put these under your items as just a reminder. If you use that item, it does it. And then any action, doesn't matter. If you're running, you're sprinting, whatever. You're rummaging through a drawer. Anything causes noise. So that doesn't matter. Even, technically resting, because it's an action, would cause the noise. And again, some of it may not make more sense than the other. You think, well, running might make more noise than walking. Maybe that's a 1 versus a 3, or maybe that goes up 2. But the idea is just, again, some of it you have to take yourself out of what makes the most sense to what is going to make the game work better. And just having all action cards be the same instead of also then having to determine what action makes more and more. Because as you start playing with different expansions, and now with like character packs that have been coming out, like Grandma and Carolyn, who might have different action cards associated with them, plus personal actions that can come out in some of the extra ultimate packs. It would be really hard to sit there and make a comprehensive list of every single action that could do this and that, you know. So yeah, we get 4 of these. Each one has on one side, it has a 3, could be here that, and the other side's a 1. So if you have more than 4 tokens, or more than 4 things, you just have to kind of like keep them, maybe like list them in the same column or put them next to each other for some reason. Yeah, so it's just kind of cool. I like that they Google it for the weapons and items and stuff, though. So, Eyeless targeting. Eyeless target is normally based on targeting icon unless there's a final girl noise icon on a tarot card. In this case, Eyeless will target you if both the following conditions are true. So yeah, if it says target, it's like if you're playing a location, obviously locations aren't going to have the noise things. So, if you play something that just says from the location, target nearest final girl, it's just going to target them anyhow. Current noise is greater than equal to the value on the girl final noise icon. The Eyeless can reach you within its movement. And again, because they have 3 movement right off the bat, them being able to find you, if your noise gets up high enough, they can find you. They're going to be able to travel very quickly. If either condition is not true, resolve the effect otherwise on the tarot card. So first of all, you're just going to check if your noise is at, so let's see here. So, whoops, I dropped some cards on the floor. Attack card resolve 4 action cards during the noise. Ignite any items. As such, the noise marker is on 4 of the time track indicated on the current noise level. It is now the killer space on the Eyeless first move space towards the closest target due to the killer action on the back of the finale card. The Eyeless is now in a space with the victim, and Katya is 2 spaces away. So it moves there. And it says you reveal the terror card on the hunt. First, you raise your horror level by 1. Then the Eyeless will resolve the effect targeting you because 1, the current noise level is at 4, which is equal to yours, and 2, the Eyeless can reach you within a movement of 3. If you had been more than 4 spaces away or made 3 or less noise, the Eyeless would have then targeted the closest target, which would have been the victim per the otherwise effect. And if the victim wouldn't have been there, then they would have just targeted you anyhow. Yeah, so that's basically what we have for that. So, pick up these cards before I step on them. Yes, it does add some interesting gameplay elements to this, because it's all going to be based on, having to move around silently. Because normally you're just like, I need to get here, I need to do this, I need to do that. This one you're going to have to limit your actions. Otherwise, this thing's going to just run up on you and just eat you. Or whatever it does, I guess. Alright, so we're going to take the Dark Power cards, which are the bottom half of the character. Let's look at these first. So we have a Reactive Swipe. You lose attack whenever you move out of the Eyeless's space. Ooh, so yeah, if it does manage to hit you or you defend against it, it's still going to hurt you anyhow. We have a Hard Sting. The Eyeless ignores the first damage taken each turn. I love the imagery though, right? Boom, headshot. Quick Counter. After you attack, the Eyeless, place it in your space and you lose 1 health. And then the Epic Dark Power. High Alert. Bloodlust at the beginning of each killer phase. Because although its stats aren't going to go up too much, like stat-wise, because it's at 3s for most of it, until eventually you can get 4s up to 5 for attack, or for movements and stuff. It's going to be the other stuff, upping the horror and then discarding terror cards. Because if it keeps discarding all the terror cards, then eventually it's just going to do its actions over and over and over, right? Alright, then we have our finale cards. Because, yeah, right, you're just going to move and do 1 space, but when it flips over, It's going to activate the big bad ones. It knows my moves. So target either move and attack. After resolve any reaction card, remove it from the game. No more running. Place the Eyeless in your space. Target one, double attack. You may use movement effects to move victims instead. Interesting. Yeah, double attack though, right? When it's up to like 3 or 4 attack, I mean, like, all of a sudden now it's doing 6 to 8 damage. That's gonna pretty much take out almost any final girl in 2 hits. Like, these guys don't need to hit you multiple times. It can hear everything. Target, move, double attack. The noise level is 4+. Repeat the above killer action with the final girl as the target. And then the one from the ultimate box is the epic finale, Final Slash. Target one, move, attack. If you take 1 or more damage from the Eyeless attack, lose all remaining health. So if it hits you, you're done. Even though, again, like, if it's doing 3 or 4 damage anyhow, you're probably not going to survive more than maybe 2 hits. Maybe 3 if you're lucky, unless you have some good reaction cards. Very interesting. Alright, let's take a look at the girls quick. And see who we're playing as. So we can play as Megan here. Who has 5 health. So right there, she's 5 health. So she's not going to take more than 2 damage unless she heals or does reactions. But heal, move space, drop 2 horror, and take a sprint action. Her ultimate ability is when the killer moves into your space or you move into theirs, you may recover health. If you're already at full health, reduce horror instead. So kind of being like not afraid, right? I can get in there and do stuff. It's very interesting against this killer, because if they get to your space, hey, that 1 extra health might keep you alive. And then we have Rhonda, who has 6 health. So again, even the killer doing 3 damage, she's going to have to at least rescue a victim or heal once to survive 2 attacks. I don't know if there's very many of the girls that have over 6 health, or probably only a few of them. Heal, move a space, take a search action, or -2 horror. But when we flip hers over, she gets, when this power is revealed, gain time equal to the Bloodlust level. The Bloodlust starts at 0. When Bloodlust increases, you gain time. So basically, she's not planning. Like, in the thick of, like, oh, beat, 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 your heart's getting faster, everything's getting crazy. She's going to still be able to remain calm and collected enough to be able to do more stuff. The only downside is it only happens the first time, so she might get one really good epic turn out of it. Depending on how late in the game it happens. And then when it goes up, but Bloodlust is only going to go up, I'm assuming probably like maybe once or twice per turn. 1 or 2 times for free is not bad, but you're not going to have like a bunch of extra. Hopefully you're not going to have a bunch of extra. I guess if the killer gets lucky and kills like 5 or 6 guys in 1 turn, you might get a good epic turn again, but that's probably not going to be good for you either. Alright, our terror cards. Let's see what we're fighting against. We have 2 copies of On the Hunt. And are they the exact same? Yes, just wanted to make sure they're the same number. So 4 or higher, it targets the final girl. Otherwise, it targets either one, move and attack. Look at this, right? If it's 4 or higher, if it can get you, double attack, right? That could basically kill you. So you really, your reaction cards are going to be very important in here, or items with defense, stuff like that. If we're careful, we might just make it. Place the Eyeless on your space. You're going to reduce the noise level by 1 for every 2 times spent. So basically you're like, if it's on your space, but if you can reduce your time enough, then it won't target you, and it might target somebody else instead. Then it's going to move and attack. Blood-curdling screams. If there are no victims, draw next terror card, panic all victims, and then 4 move double attack, or either 1 move and attack. Is that a severed arm? If there are no victims, draw a terror card, panic all victims. Horror, for each victim that is moved. If none moved, discard this card and draw next terror card. So now this should be an interesting one. Like a card like this, like we have our extra action cards. It would almost be cool if they made some like this that could go in just about any deck, right? This one isn't necessarily thematic towards this specific scenario, but it'd be kind of neat if you just had like extra terror cards you could throw into like any single scenario if you want to just add it. Like, hey, I need to make the game a little bit easier by adding some more terror cards. Here's like an extra deck you could add that comes from outside the game. You could throw them in there, and this should be one like, yeah, this isn't a terrible one. Packs all victims, and then ups the horror. It could make the game harder too, because right there, it's a bad thing to get. I'm not sure traveling as a group is the best idea. All victims in spaces adjacent to yours move to your space. To target 4. And then, yeah, so I think it's at least target 4. So, as long as you only make 3 actions per turn, you're generally safe. 2 copies of This Thing Is Too Fast For Us. Target, move, attack. Target, move, and attack. Is it nearby? If the Eyeless is within 2 spaces you increase your noise level by 1. And then if it's already at 3, he targets you, otherwise he targets anyone else. We have to make some noise. If there are no victims on the board, draw the next terror card. Target a victim, move, double attack. Shhh. You may reduce your timer to 0 on the next timer track to reduce your time level to 0. And it's at 1. So, oh yeah, you gotta drop this, and if you want to reduce your time so you don't have anything left to purchase cards and stuff like that, yeah, you can basically survive this attack, which you almost don't need to use. It moves twice, and its movement starts off as 3 and then gets up to 4. So, I mean, moving 6 to 8 spaces, that can get you pretty much across the entire board. And we have 2 copies of I Have a Bad Feeling About This. Horror, increasing noise level by 1, draw the next terror card. Unlimited Endurance. If the Eyeless is already at full health, when its card is revealed, discard it, otherwise draw the next card. Restore the Eyeless to full health. Shuffle this card back into the terror deck. If this is the last card in the terror deck, discard it instead. And then it gets some minor dark powers. Fear senses. When resetting the noise level, reset it to 1 instead of 0. And it gets 2 health. Or Blinding Speed. Any victim that panics to another space during the panic phase is killed. And it does 2 health extra. Yeah, so this character is going to be crazy to fight against, because, like, right, your actions are limited, so that's already a pain. But then, just imagining, like, we haven't looked at the map for this set, but I'm just imagining the maps for some of the other ones, because, again, being able to move around, all of a sudden, if it, like, some of them have, like, areas where you can, like, get from a center location and spread out very quickly, so it's going to be hard to dodge around it. Other maps, you have areas where it's kind of like you might have to go all the way around, so you might be able to, like, hide around somewhere, or take secret passages. I know there's, like, the Arctic map where you can, like, go through a tunnel and something, or the Fairy Tale map where you can take a boat. But yeah, some of them, like, in the, like, Asylum, where, like, the middle section has, like, linked, like, lots of the other areas. Like, that's going to make it a lot more difficult. Interesting. Awesome. I keep using all these words. So that's like our secret envelope cards. So these are extra items we can get if we happen to win. For Rhonda, she is going to get her pickaxe. Makes sense. We're in, like, a mining deserty area. So just like back home on the farm. So 0 range, 1 attack, 2 hands. Roll 1 extra red dice when attacking with Rhonda's pickaxe. Nice. So she gets an extra die for attacking. And then we have Megan's. Which will give her pipe bombs. Ooh, pretty pink ones too. I got some new things to teach you. One-handed 3 uses. Maybe used only once per action phase. Choose a space. Choose your space or an adjacent space and roll and deal damage equal to the results to everyone in the target space. I mean, probably don't want to target yours, but it might be where the killer's at. Yeah, but you can end up doing up to 2 damage to everybody. This probably attacking, like, a guy that's one-on-one might not be the best thing, but having a range thing isn't bad all the time. But it's nice about something like this would be if you're attacking something as, like, a group of enemies. The vignette sets are definitely the birds, the zombies, or some of the guys like Ratchet lady who has her minions that run around, or the strangers who have I know that's not their name, but I can't think of them off the top of my head, who have like multiple guys that could be helpful as well. Alright, so last thing we have for the killer side is we have his miniature. Again, it's part of the ultimate set. And now he might technically be bigger, like, in general, but again, they always have to keep them kind of small so they fit on the board. So they didn't make them, like, if you play something like a Simon, like, zombie side type game, they'll lots of times have, like, really huge miniatures. These ones all have to kind of stay the same size, regardless of how big the actual character would be, because if they were size proportionate, some of them might not fit on the board very well. Alright, so for our location, we have Utopia. So we have a bunker, a general store, a sheep farm, and a setup. So this one's going to be a little bit interesting. We were just talking about how the map works for getting to play and stuff. So we have a mountain pass exit down here, exit here, and exit up there. We have our 3 shops, and then we have some brown rock areas, which are going to add some extra things. A lot more named locations than some of the other maps as well. Scrapyard, Crossroads, Water Tower, Electrical Tower, Old Road, Deep Trail, Trailer Park, and House. So everything either has basically a name or a symbol on it. But yeah, for even getting to move around this map, right? So we can go up and down this side without any problem. This side we can go here, but we can't get up to here. So here on these, like, you have to go this way. You can link down to these 2, but these 2 aren't linked. So it's kind of like this top is sort of connected, then this middle one gets you around a little bit. But if you get into the electrical tower, you either have to go up, down, or this way, so you can't get to these ones. So these are a little bit blocked off. So that's a little bit of crappy areas you could be like. If I'm like over here at the house, and the Eyeless is down here at the trailer park, if it has to go 3 spaces to get to me, 1, 2, 3, it can get there. But if I was up at the water tower, again, 1, 2, 3, it can get very far. But there are places you can get where you're far enough away from it. You're just going to have to move a lot. And the problem is every time you move, you spend, noise goes up. So yeah, very interesting. You might actually end up sacrificing a lot of people just for the fact of staying alive. Alright, so what does Utopia do for us? We have an old joke around this park. It goes like this. Where can you find Utopia? The owner of the general store smiles and fidgets, waiting for Rhonda to answer, but she just shrugs. Barely able to contain himself, he bursts out, "Nowhere!" And he begins laughing uncontrollably. Because this is Utopia. And it's in the middle of nowhere. I believe that's the joke. So we have our location board, of course. 10 events, 5 setups, 12 Sand Snake cards, 8 Terror cards, 18 item cards, and 6 various tokens. So we kind of get an extra enemy in this one. So special setup. Shuffle the 12 Sand Snake cards together to form the Sand Snake deck. Special rules. Sand Snake attacks. Each turn, Sand Snake will rise above the ground and attack. At the end of the killer space, draw 2 Sand Snake cards. Follow the instructions on the card. The Sand Snake does damage to 1 target on the named space. Follow the priority. Victim, Final Girl, Minion, and Killer. And I do like that. There was I can't remember the other one. There was another map that had, I think Sasquatch came out. Might have been. There's a couple other ones. Sometimes you have an additional thing on the location, an item card or an event that comes out that brings out something else that can also potentially harm the killer and minions. And I do like that as an additional thing. I know we had the one with the cop car that would drive up and down the street too. And I like that as an extra thing, because sometimes it's like, yeah, if you're watching horror movies, it's not just the final girl and their group fighting it. Sometimes there's like, oh yeah, the intervening other thing comes out. And granted, they're generally not going to kill or take out the bad guys, but they're going to cause a distraction and hurt them. So it's always something fun as well. After all, Sand Snakes immediately burrow back underground. Sand Snakes are not considered minions and cannot be attacked, killed, or otherwise interacted with, other than you may use reaction cards and item cards to prevent damage from being dealt to you. One of the Sand Snakes cards will instruct you to reshuffle the discard pile back in the deck, which is up after resolving all other Sand Snake cards drawing at the same time. This is an after resolving all other Sand Snake cards. So basically, if you have to draw 3 of them, or whatever, you're drawing 2 cards. You're going to draw 2, activate them. If you have something that lets you draw more, for example, if you have to draw 3, you're going to draw all 3. If one of them is reshuffle, you draw that last. Or do that last. Alright, so we have sinkhole. Some space can collapse. This will indicate on the terror event cards when it occurs, the victim in the affected spaces are killed. You and any enemies in a space take damage. Then anyone left there panics until they leave that space. Place the sinkhole token on the space. Player of the sinkhole can only be moved through or by anyone for the rest of the game. Also a fun mechanic, which would be cool if they added in some other maps here and there. A way to literally block off areas so you can't use them. And then we have the boulder spaces. Some boulder spaces are safe from snake attacks, and some cards may reference them. So yeah, we did have the 2 boulder spaces. You can, or 3 different boulder spaces. You can kind of hide on them. So again, depending on what killer you're facing, hey, I can maybe hide on there. It's not a big deal. The killer can't get to me too fast. Fighting the Eyeless, you can move pretty fast. Now you're going to be waging this double war, because it's like, oh, if I stand a boulder, a sand snake can't get me, but that keeps me within enough spaces the Eyeless can move to me if it draws a card. So interesting. So there are our sinkhole spots, and little cactuses on the back. So let's go ahead, let's take a look at the sand snake cards quick. So there's quite a few of them, so it's not like there's only like 4 cards and we're going to run out. So it's going to tell you where they go. So the sand snake attacks the crossroads. If it has to collapse, attack the bunker instead. The sand snake does 1 damage to 1 target in the space using the following priority. So I think a lot of them are going to say the same thing there. So I'm not going to keep reading that every time. But now if you go look on the map, so it's the crossroads, and it's kind of neat. So we get to kind of see the picture, the kind of map shows it as well. And it says, if not, it's going to go over and attack the bunker instead. So here we have the water tower, same thing. Sand attacks the water tower. And this one doesn't move him somewhere else if he doesn't have to. So victims, you, minion, and killers. So it attacks the general store. Attacks the electrical tower. Attacks the old road. Attacks the Jeep trail. Attacks the trailer park. If it has to collapse, attacks the bunker instead. Interesting, because the trailer park isn't anywhere near the bunker. The crossroads is right next to it. But I think the idea is because they assume that there's going to be a lot of people making noise in the bunker, or they know there's things in the bunker. Attacks the sheep farm. Poor sheep. Attacks the house. Attacks the scrapyard. If you are on a boulder space, you may discard this card with no effect. A sand snake attacks your space. This sand snake does 1 damage. This is going to attack you regardless. And then the last one is, after resolving, discard the other sand snake's cards that were drawn. Shuffle the card, and all the snakes in the discard pile back in the sand snake deck. She'll basically form a discard pile and reshuffle it. So it's not like once you run out of cards, you don't have to fight them anymore. So they're going to always be a threat, no matter what. Alright, then we have our setup cards with a little cactus. So there we go. So we get a couple of people start on the boulders in the brown there. Killer starts up at the top corner on the bunker. Always interesting to note this, because here you have to not just look at where you're kind of starting, but also keep in mind of the sand snakes attacking. So we have Monstrous Stench. Did I read what that one was? Welcome to Utopia. Did not read what that was. And then Monstrous Stench. Gotta spread out a little bit more. Sundown. Guys hiding out in the bunker. So like here they're at the trailer park here. This is the house. Guy at the general store, water tower, electrical tower. Guy down at the sheep farm. So it's kind of like makes sense kind of that way. We have a trash day. Everyone's kind of down at the bottom of the map. And then we have bouldering. So this is an interesting one. Lots of guys start in the boulders or the general store. Killers in a Jeep on the bottom. Neat. Alright. Then we have our events. Earthquake. I've never seen readings like this. Sinkhole opens up, determining which space collapses. Crossroads or trailer park. Place the sinkhole in the collapsing effect. So if there's only those certain areas, which are I think the two mentioned, and there's four tokens, so there must be another set that can possibly be dropped down. It's not every single space can be collapsed, but still collapsing some of those areas blocks off the routes, so I could definitely make that hard. Defiant teenager. You don't know shit, old man. Place the teenager in the general store. This kid just show off, and during the upkeep moves 2 spaces towards the largest group of victims. Other victims will not follow you while the teenager is in your space. Oh, great. So what an annoying guy. Doomsday planners. We can make a stand in our bunker. Place one of the Doomsday planners in the bunker and the other in the general store. With a Doomsday planner, you may roll 1 extra red die when resolving search as a general store, or 1 when resolving at the bunker. Well, that's cool. So you get extra items from them. Maintenance check. We've had reports of a power outage. Place 2 additional victims at the electrical tower. I do like these. I haven't seen these as much as I think like the first series did it a lot more, and I think they kind of dropped off by the 3rd series by like cards that bring extra guys in. We have a landslide token. Little exclamation point. It could be weak before the crew gets here to clear the pass. Place a hazard token, or a caution token at the mountain pass. It's only considered an exit space. So you can still go into it, you just can't exit it. We need a plan. I know, we could, hell, I don't know. Take the plan action card into your hand. If it's already there, you may take an improvised action instead. Get on the roof. They come through the ground. Whether in the house, if either the house or the water tower spaces collapse, you and any victim in the space do not take damage, but still panic. Interesting. And then we have Stalkers. When this event is revealed, immediately shuffle the Sand Snake discard pile back into the deck. So when this happens, it just comes up quicker. They won't give up till we're all dead. When drawing for Sand Snake, resolve 3 Sand Snake cards instead of 2. If all 3 cards result in the victim death, you may choose 1 to ignore. Dehydration. I'm so thirsty. At the end of the planning phase, if you set your time to 5 or 4 for extreme horror, unless you are in the end phase with 1 or more time left. And our last one is we have to stick together. There are strength in numbers. Add 1 additional victim may follow you. Alright, then we have our item cards. So we'll have our vehicle for the set, the bulldozer, which of course we get a little bulldozer token. That's actually pretty cool about this game too, is something like that where there's like over 15 sets and everyone has a vehicle. They've managed to do a different vehicle in every set, pretty much. Nothing can stop us now. Pole vaulting champ. Place a bulldozer token in space. The bulldozer may move with you. With the bulldozer, you and all victims of your space may ignore the effects of sand snakes. But definitely this is going to generate a lot of noise for the Eyeless. Pickaxe. Fuck you. 0 range, 1 attack, 2 damage. You may add 1 successful attack to... You may add 1 success to an attack with a pickaxe. If you do, discard the pickaxe after resolving. So if you slam it down extra hard, it does potentially make sure you hit with it, but you lose it because it gets stuck in them. The telescoping 10-foot pole. Do you know how to pole vault? You may skip 1 space when moving from a rock space. No effects are triggered after skipping the space, and no victims may follow you when using this item. So we get 2 canteens. I may need to rehydrate. Discard during the action phase to choose one of the following. Discard the dehydration event, or gain up to 6 time. Ooh, dang. That's actually pretty good. Didn't our... Nope, I'm thinking a killer from a different, or final girl from a different one. You had to spend 6 time. We have 2 copies of the canned chili. I'm going to save it for myself, but 3 uses. Ignore the effects of a static attack in your space or in adjacent space for you and any of your victims present. I think the idea is you throw it out. Like, not eating it, but you maybe throw a can and it draws the sand snake away. Old map. It says there's a secret entrance. You may play a search action card while adjacent to a item spot. You can immediately move to that space and resolve a search action with +1 die. The first aid kit. Gotta stop this bleeding. Every time you use an action card to recover an additional health. The hubcap. Shield or discus. 2 uses. Ignore a damage or discard all remaining uses and deal damage to an enemy in adjacent space. The elephant gun. Whoa. 1 range, 3 hits, does 2 uses. May only be used with critical blow. If this card is revealed during setup, swap with the face-up item card at the bunker. Household chemicals. It mixes the proper proportions. Discard during action phase and choose a space or an adjacent space, then roll a die and deal damage equal to the result of everyone in the target space. So we saw the pickaxe and we saw this now are the lesser versions of the Final Girls upgraded items. I actually get 2 of the household chemicals. We have flare gun. Warning, not a toy. 0 to 1 range has 2 uses. The flare gun may only modify a weak attack action. If the damage is dealt to the killer, -1 horror. Alternatively, discard an attracting marker, and all victims within 3 spaces move 1 space closer to you, so you can discard it. Either use it as a gun and fire it at them and do a little bit of damage, or you can use it to bring guys to you. The 6-shooter. Pow, 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 pow. Click, click. 6 uses. Makes sense. It's a 6-shooter. Maybe at range of 2 while you are in a rock space. Scope rifle. Steady. Breathe out. Fire. 2 to 3 range. 2 damage has 2 uses. Maybe use a target of 4 when you're on a rock space. Crowbar. Opens things like skulls. This card is to add 1 success to a search action. And our last one is a seismometer. Something's coming. Once during each your action phase, you make the top 2 cards of the Sensei deck. If you are attacked by one of the Sensei's there and there are no other targets, you are only attacked by Sensei's if there are no other targets in your space. Oh, okay. So you can kind of, once you're action phase, you can look at that and see, hey, I can see what's coming, so I have an idea. And then you're only attacked by Sensei's if there's no other targets. So you'll always target somebody else first, because you'll know that they're coming, and somebody else will be like, oh, I'm an idiot, and I ran into them. Alright, and then we got our terror cards. Just what extra things they do. Zoom back out a little bit here. These 2 have no idea what they just walked into. Roll a die and place 2 new victims in the following spaces: scrapyard, general store, or sheep farm, horror, and draw an event. Lots of ways to die out here. They just literally just show a snake card. Oh yeah, a rattlesnake appears. You may play an action card that inflicts damage if you wish. Then if the rattlesnake is still alive, you take 2 damage, you may defend as normal. If you take any damage, blood goes up, the rattlesnake slithers away. That's fun. Just pops in there and does stuff. How many are there? Snake attack can do damage to 1 target in each space within 2 or more targets, including enemies. Attack doing damage to 1 target in each space with 2 or more targets, including enemies. Use your fallen priority. Kill remains you and the victim. If no victims are killed by Sensei's, bloodlust goes up. End the event. If we stay here, we will starve. If there are no victims on any rock spaces, discard and draw the next terror card. Otherwise, panic all victims on rock, horror, and event. All the sheep are dead. Move up to horror, target a victim, move and attack. Untimely encounter, place the killer in your space. They target you and attack. Sinkhole. The crossroad collapse if it hasn't already. Or let's see which other space collapse. Water tower, house, and trailer park. Place a sinkhole in the collapse space and apply the effects. So this is where you could end up getting your 4, because you could get the event that collapses one of them. Otherwise, it's going to go to one of these. And the same thing, sinkhole for the trailer park, others, water tower, house, and crossroads. So it looks like those are the only 4 that are going to do the water tower, the house, the crossroads, or the trailer park. So if we kind of look at this, crossroads, water tower, trailer park, or house. So they're not gonna, looks like they're not gonna be able to collapse every single area, which does make it a little bit less dramatic, so you don't have to worry about it. But I'm sure it's so that it can't accidentally block off an entire area of the map or keep you from doing something. Because they block off these 2 even, that just means you have to go all the way around. But if it somehow got, crazy enough, like, I guess there's really no way to 100% block off an area on this map. But I mean, like, say if they could block off all 3 of these, and then they blocked off like this, right? You'd still be able to get to this by going around. You just have to go all the way around. So, like, there is that potential. I can see them definitely not blocking off the exits, but they could do that as well. Alright, so that's what we have for this Final Girl thing. So yeah, the location's really cool. Oh wait, we have 2 other things. I have to show off the miniatures quick. We have our bulldozer. So we get a little miniature bulldozer. But then, as an additional bonus, oops, just threw all the cards on the ground there. We are also going to get 3 sandworms. So now you might be like, but there's no token to represent sandworms anywhere. Exactly, because they come up, they do their damage, and then they leave. They just added these in here so if you want to kind of have them, like, show where they're attacking. Just really cool. This is, like, probably one of the more, 100% just cosmetic things, like add-ons. All the miniatures like that too, you can use tokens and meeples to represent everybody. This is just if you really just want to be like, hey, they popped up at this area, I can have my sandworm appear there. Because then they go away at the end of the turn anyhow, so you'd be pulling them on and off the board all the time. But it might even be nice for a reminder for people like, hey, they just attacked this spot, they just attacked here, they just attacked here, and then pull them back off the board. So very cool. Alright, so that's, again, that's what we have for that. So yeah, I do like the location being a thing that can potentially cause you more harm. Usually it's, most of the locations are just like, I have this, I have to do this, but yeah, all very unique. But having one that could actively try and kill you every turn is very cool. Now, that being said, is the way the sandworms work in the Tremors movies are based on sound as well. And I kind of wish they would have leaned more into the sound aspect with this. And it would have been more like from Series 1, The Sacred Gardens, where you had the killer and the location both had like, I can't remember what the name of the ability is called, but they had like a wrath meter. They would count it up on either side. So if you only play with one, then you only had to worry about the one part of the wrath. But if you played with both, it kind of made it a little bit more difficult. And this would have been interesting with that as well. The sandworms would have also used this noise token. Again, you wouldn't have had to bring a second one with because it's all in the same box. Although you might have put a second noise counter in there anyhow, but that wouldn't have been that big of a deal. Just add them extra noise cards and stuff on the other side. Just so you had both, or just, so if you open up the one side, I guess, but it's not that big of a deal, because you'll carry the box with you. But that would have been cool if they had noise counter as well. Like, they would have also targeted wherever the highest noise was, or would have targeted you if you made a lot of noise. Like, assume victims maybe be quiet, and then would have targeted you. That could have been a neat mechanic as well. But again, that would have almost been more of like both modes. I almost should have had something like, again, maybe they tried this and it didn't work, but it would have been kind of neat if they would, instead of just having a noise counter for you yourself, would have been maybe place noise counters on the board, and then they target wherever that noise is. So right, if you had a bunch of victims, like, in my brain's thinking like the zombie side rules, where it was every victim, every person counts as one noise. So if you have a bunch of victims together, they're probably all one noise. So when you have 4 of them, they're gonna count as 4 noise. So the things are gonna be targeted towards those things first. But I get where the killer side that could work because that could determine movement. But the sand snakes, either you had to leave them on the board and have them move around, but you can't just have them pop up at the noisiest area. So otherwise, they'll always kill someone every turn, no matter what. I think it's still a good mechanic. I just kind of wish they would have had incorporated the noise in there at some point. Alright, but that is what we have for Don't Make a Sound. Hope you guys enjoyed the Series 3 videos. Check out all the rest of them. All the other Final Girls 1 and 2. See you guys later. Bye.